This is the mount that I made that I used to attach the gator board to. This is the Velcro, and on the opposite side I have the mounting mechanism. This is the plate that I was discussing that connects to the ball head. We're going to build one of these today. This is to hold the gator board, and we're going to build one that's going to become a shelf for my palette and my paints and my brushes and jazz. So it'll be almost the same. And it'll also have a T-nut that'll be embedded in the body of the wood, and it'll have also the metal plate. So I want to show you them and what they look like. This is the T-nut before I install it, and it goes into the body of the wood. And this is the plate that connects to the quick release. And the idea is that the plate, the screw goes into the T-nut and it threads on and they become a single unit. I have a T-nut here. I wanted to move my structure to be off center to disperse things more spatially. And underneath this is also a T-nut. And I was putting this little plate on it, and it was moving a bit. It's only the friction that's provided by the screw that's holding it in place. So after I went through the process of installing a T-nut that looked just like this, it's underneath this, then I also put down the glue, and I actually threaded this plate into the glue and bonded it into the T-nut and glued them to make them a really solid duo, right? It's basically a single piece now. So I'm going to show you how I made this, because we're going to go make it now. And it'll have, we're going to drill this out and make the T-nut, and then the T-nut connection, and then we're also going to put that into place as well. And then we'll be able to have a shelf to go along with this mount for the gator board. In this part of the video, we are going to take what will become the shelf that will hold my palette, and we are going to connect the T-nut. That's this piece. It's basically an inside-out nut. It has threads on the inside, and we're going to place it inside of the bottom of the shelf. This will allow us to connect the plate to the quick release that'll go and connect it to the tripod. What I've discovered is they make these T-nuts with little barbs in them, and they sit well inside of the lumber. You can pound them in with a hammer after you've drilled a hole, but they don't stay, and they require us to glue them. So there is kind of a multi-step process that we're going to need to do. We're going to drill a hole with the drill, and then we're going to use the carpenter's knife, and we're going to carve out a little area to have a divot for the head of this. That's this little piece right here I'm trying to describe, so that it will sit 100% flush with the wood. Because when we put the plate on top of this, it needs to sit flat with the whole space so it has a good connection to the lumber. Drilling it is the easy part. I have this drill here. It is intended to be approximately the size of this flange, which comes off of the T-nut and goes down into the wood. So it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to drill it out, and then I'm going to dig it out a little bit as well. I am not a fancy carpenter, but I'm sure you already could tell that. Now we have a hole. It's here to house this flange that's going to go down inside the wood. It's what has the threads on the interior, and the hole fits. The next step is I'm going to use the carpenter's knife to carve out the edge. What I have learned is you have to prep it around the exterior by pre-carving the edges. And then after that, I'm going to come in and I'm going to slice this in an effort to make it easier to carve out the wood, right? I'm just prepping it. So I'm separating the wood into little sections. There's nothing fancy about this. It just needs to be done to house the T-nut flush with the wood and make enough room for us to attach the glue. Okie dokes. So I have carved out the little space for the T-nut, and as you can see when I turn it sideways, it's deep enough to be able to rest flat. So I'm going to put on some Gorilla Glue, and then we're just going to hammer it into place, and then we just need to let it dry, and then we need to clean it up afterwards. That's the gist of it. Alright, a little bit of glue on the wood, and I literally am going to turn it upside down. I'm going to smash it into the hole, and then I'm going to go put it somewhere else to dry. Alright, there it is. Alright, so there we have it. It's flat. It's sitting inside of the wood. It'll harden. I'll clean it, and then we can do the next step. Alright, so now the T-nut is glued into place, and I'm using Gorilla Glue, but I don't think it matters that much. But for the Gorilla Glue, it'll expand with moisture after you mix contact with the moisture. So I do need to scrape it all away, which is what I'm doing now. So I can get back down to the T-nut, which is now locked into place with all this crazy glue. Crazy glue! Boy, where'd that go? Maybe you could use crazy glue. So, right, just to say, there it is, nice and flat, just as it should be. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to need to glue this on, right? This is going to get glued on, and here's the threaded little nut that goes in to the T-nut like this. And this is how it will permanently be once I glue it into place to attach to the quick release on the tripod mount on the ball head. So what I need to do is get some water. Water is what helps activate the Gorilla Glue. And here's the Gorilla Glue. I'm lining this up to help us see what the spatial relationship is, right? Basically, I want to make sure I get the glue under this mount, the plate itself. So I'm sure I'm using too much. I just want to make sure I get a good enough fit, because guess what? I have had the opposite problem, which is when I haven't put enough down. That sucks too. So my goal is to make sure we have enough. I'm sure that's more than enough. Down this is going to go. And I'll lock it into place, thread it. So this is finished now, and from here we can connect this piece to the tripod just like I was showing you in the first video.